Today we're going to create a menu-driven web page that will allow a user to make a selection and click a button and go to whatever web page they want to. Now to do this, we're all going to use JavaScript. So of course we have in our typical JavaScript page here, we have script in the beginning, and we'll eventually put some in the body. But for now, we're going to create a couple of functions. The first function is called goToPage, and the way I spelled it, it has a capital P, but the rest of it is all lowercase. And like all functions, open and close parentheses and open and close curly braces. But I've got to put something in the parentheses. I've got to actually put the page that we're going to go to. And in this case, it's going to be a simple command, window.location equals. And what that's saying is the current window is going to change to a new location. A new location is going to be equal to whatever the page is. So that means the page is going to have a value equal to a neighboring web page. Now I'm going to create a second function called openPage. That one's going to be a little bit different than changing the current window's location to the new page. In this case, I'm also going to send the page as a parameter, but I'm going to have, in this case, I'm going to have a window.open command that will use the page as the parameter, and it will then open up a new browser window. It could be a new instance of a new browser, or it could be a new tab now with tab browsers. That's likely what it'll end up being. Now, to do the next thing I have to do, I need to talk about a form. We've been using forms for years in various websites. They typically have information that you need to enter, perhaps in a text field, perhaps on a little pick list, which we might call a select box, and a little button that you might click to submit some information. You've all used one if you've been to Google, because Google has that. They have a box where you can enter a search term, and then they have two buttons. One is the Google search that will return millions of hits, and the other, I'm feeling lucky button. When they click on that, it just returns those million hits, but then immediately redirects you to the first hit, because you're feeling lucky enough that whatever you typed in is the first hit's going to be the one you want. Now, in the body, we're going to have a form here. HTML is all we're writing at the moment. In the name of that form, we have to put that in quotes. In this case, we're choosing the name Web Page Choices. Why? Because we feel like calling that. So we have a current document, and on that current document we have a form. The form's name is Web Page Choices. That's all. Now, on that form I'm going to create a select box, and a select box begins with select in the less than greater than symbol, and it ends with the /select. And we know what a select box is because I pointed out earlier, something like choosing whether you're a registered user, new user, or whether you're a guest or not. Those are select boxes. Now I'm going to name this select box Web Page. So I have a form called Web Page Choices and a select box called Web Page. Each of in the select box, the items on that list are called options. And each option has to have a value. And I put the value in quotes, something like hello world.html, and kind of like a hyperlink, I have to specify what do I want it to say on that list. So I have to say hello world is the text is going to appear. But if I click on that text, it's going to send the value hello world.html. Now, option number 2 is the time.html. Call it the time. We also have a lottery page, lottery.html. And we have a thumbnail, thumbnails.html. Now, after the select box is closed, I'm going to put an input object, an input element, and this one is going to be a button, type equals button. Generally I use type equals submit, but in this case I'm using type equals button. And I have a value. The value is just what it says on the button. It's the words oftentimes submit, login, click here, all those kinds of things. Those are the value of the button. But I'm also going to say on click equals, and I've got double quotes there because I'm going to put something in there. On click, it's going to do something. What's it going to do? It's going to run some JavaScript. It's going to say go to page parentheses. Well, you know I need something in the parentheses because the function indicates that. So what do I need? Well, I mentioned we're in the current document, so we just call that document. It refers to itself. Web page choices. Web page choices is the form. And on web page choices form, we have a web page select box. And whatever you chose, the value associated with that object, that is what we're going to send. So if you clicked on Hello World, you would get hello world.html. That's the value of the web page object on the web page choices form that's in the current document. I'm going to put another button right next to it, and this one, instead of saying go to page, I'm going to say open page as my value. And there, instead of on-click going to page, it's going to on-click open page. Same document.webpagechoices.webpage.value, because I'm going to send that same name, hello world.html, lottery.html, whatever I'm going to send. In this case, it's going to open up a new instance in the browser, a new tab that will show that page. So when I double-click and open the file, of course, it opens on my local client with Internet Explorer, and naturally we see the allow the block content to be enabled here. And we see up on top a pick list, and Hello World happens to be the first choice, and it says go to page and open page. But when I click on that pick list, then I get all the choices, so I'm going to choose the lottery, and then I'm going to click the open page in this case. When I click on it, it opens into a brand new instance of the